On New Canadians, we're with Susie Grynol, President and CEO of the Hotel Association of Canada, a national leader in the dialogue surrounding the hotel and tourism industry. Susie, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So I mentioned that we're talking about the role newcomers have to play in hotel and tourism. Specifically, a program called Destination Employment is in the spotlight here. How do you see its role playing out in light of COVID-19?
Well, this program was designed to fill a gap that really existed in the journey of a newcomer coming to Canada and finding meaningful employment. It was a win-win because we had a labor shortage in our sector, a critical one, and newcomers were having difficulty getting from point A to point B. So it was really designed to create that system and that structure to allow them to settle effectively and also solve a labor problem for our industry. It's going to be critical because when this industry comes back, we are going to rely more heavily than we ever have before on those employees, many of whom will probably move on to other sectors, and then we will need to attract them back to our sector when we're going to be running again at full capacity. So it will be critical.
Mm-hmm. And labor talent shortage has always been a part of the conversation in the industry, but for exchange for newcomer talent, what are employers offering beyond the pay grade?
In a hotel setting, you can have a newcomer come, perhaps with limited language skills, who can work kind of in the background, develop their skills, be a part of a community, settle within a community, and not have to be exposed on the front line with a full command of the English language. I guess that would be the starting point. But for Canadians who do come, new Canadians that come and they do have a strong command of the English language, tons of opportunity for them to start at any midpoint or even a senior point, depending on their skill level within a hotel, develop transferable skills that allow them to move from one portion of the hotel into a different area of the hotel, or develop skills that they can even take to another sector.
With the national occupancy average also at one point below 10%, that's quite a hit. How have things unraveled so far? And what's your role in helping employers connect with employees in general?
So most of the industry did close down during the course of the pandemic. We had to lay off 80% of our workforce. Those were the rock bottom moments, and now we're starting to see the industry slowly come back. But when you're running, our national occupancy is still not high enough for most hotels in the country to break even. So what does that mean? It means that you've got a hotel that's operating on a skeletal staff, some hotels still closed, and you've got fixed costs that are in the background, whether that's your mortgage cost or your property tax. So you've got to cover these costs, and you have absolutely no revenue coming in the door. So there's a gap there. The math doesn't make sense. The economics don't work. And so we've been working very closely with the government to build some support programs. Of course, they put in place one to support employees, which we were thrilled about, because our number one concern when we had to slow everything down to a halt was what would happen to our employees that we would need to furlough. So fortunately, the government did come to our aid, whether it was through employment insurance or the CERB program. They were able to be off work, but then they introduced the wage subsidy program, which allowed us the flexibility to bring some of those employees back, cover a portion of their fixed wages. But beyond that, we also are going to need more access to liquidity. Money that's going to allow us to pay the bills during this interim period. Money that we will pay back, but money that has to be lent to us on terms that actually make sense. So long repayment terms, 0 or no percent, no interest for a period of time while the industry's on its knees, and we are building towards some of those solutions today.
Mm-hmm. And you yourself, you have 15 years of experience as an association executive, so you've dealt with a number of complex industry issues. This one being a quite unique one, that's for sure. But a program of this size is now more important than ever. So what are you strategizing to move it forward? And what do you hope for the future?
The industry will come back. Canada will be a #1 destination again in the world. And my hope for this program is that we can expand it, we can build on it, that we can secure further funding so that the program can live on, and not just in our sector, but this was designed to be a pilot project so that we could learn from our experience so that we could perfect it and that we could build a system that could be easily integrated into other sectors in the economy as well. So my hope is that that's what this program ultimately achieves, and in the process we welcome thousands of new Canadians into an incredible industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Susie.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.